All right, so in the world of wellness supplements, there's always something new, right? Well, a new idea is starting to get some real buzz, and it shifts the focus to one single, really powerful organ. Today, we're going to break down the claims behind a supplement called HepatoBurn, which is all about this liver-first approach to metabolism.
So this is the big question, really. The whole concept behind this thing boils down to this. It's asking us to kind of forget about the usual stuff for a minute. You know, the calorie counting, the endless cardio, and instead zoom in on one of the absolute workhorses of our body, the liver.
Okay, so let's dive into the core idea here. The review we're looking at paints this picture of the liver not just as, a passive filter that cleans stuff out, but as the actual control panel for your body's entire energy and fat-burning system.
And they call this the liver-first approach. The whole theory is, if you can get this one organ working at its absolute best, it'll create this amazing ripple effect across your entire metabolism. It's all about getting to the root of the problem, not just putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms.
To make this idea really stick, the source material uses this great little analogy. It's like, instead of trying to force your flowers to grow, you just focus on making the garden's soil super healthy. Here, the liver is the soil, and a fired-up metabolism, well, that's the beautiful flowers blooming as a result.
All right, so that's the big idea. But how does it supposedly work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. The actual mechanism they're claiming is at play here. So the formula is apparently built on two main pillars. Think of it like two different teams working together. You've got one blend that's designed to directly fire up your metabolism, and then another one that's all about helping the liver do its main job, which is, detoxification and purification. So looking at that first one, the fat-burning complex, the review points out some names you might have heard before. We're talking things like resveratrol and Camellia sinensis, stuff you often hear about when people talk about metabolism and antioxidants. And then for the purification side of things, it's a totally different crew of ingredients. The source mentions silymarin, which you probably know from milk thistle, plus berberine and glutathione. All of these are pretty big names in the world of liver health. So the idea is this one-two punch of support.
So how is all this supposed to connect? Well, the review breaks it down into this simple four-step chain reaction. It all starts, supposedly, by flipping a switch on a liver hormone called TGR5. Once that's activated, it helps your liver process food way more efficiently, and the result? More of that food gets burned for energy and less of it gets stored as fat. Simple as that.
And get this, the benefits they talk about aren't just about weight. The review describes this bigger picture of just feeling better all around. People reporting more energy, thinking more clearly, even sleeping better. So it's positioned less as just a weight loss thing and more as a tool for your overall vitality. Okay, this all sounds pretty targeted, so who is this really for? Let's take a look at the exact audience the review has in mind. So the review gets really specific here. It's aiming at women over 35, who might be dealing with all those hormonal changes, and men over 40 who are fighting that stubborn belly fat. But really, it's for anyone out there who just feels like their metabolism has hit a wall. And that right there, that's the core problem it claims to fix. It's for that incredibly frustrating feeling when you know you're doing everything right. You're eating well, you're exercising, but your body just isn't playing along anymore. All right, let's shift gears and talk about the practical stuff. What does the review say about safety? How do you actually buy it? Are there any guarantees? Let's get into the logistics. Okay, safety first. According to the source, this is all formulated with plant-based stuff. And a big point they make is that it's stimulant-free. So you're not supposed to get that jittery, fake energy feeling. It's also listed as non-GMO and free from common things like soy and dairy. Now, when it comes to buying it, the review lays out a few different packages. It seems like they're really set up to encourage you to stick with it for a while, which makes sense if you're talking about metabolic changes, right? Those don't happen overnight, and no surprise, the bigger the package, the better the deal.
Now, this is a really big deal. The review makes sure to highlight the 60-day money-back guarantee. It says you can literally try the whole thing, and if you're not happy for any reason, you can get a refund, even on the empty bottles. The source kind of presents this as a sign that the company really stands behind its product.
And here's a super important piece of practical advice from the review. A heads up on where to buy it. They make it really clear that the real, authentic product is only sold on the official website. This is to help people avoid any fakes or knockoffs out there.
So to kind of wrap up the review's whole perspective, it uses this phrase right here. The takeaway is that this isn't some magic pill. Instead, it's supposed to be a different, more grounded approach that supports your body's core systems for both weight and just overall energy and vitality.
And that really leaves us with a pretty interesting question, doesn't it? If you step back from this one product, the whole concept is fascinating. Is this liver-first idea a sign of where wellness is heading? Moving towards this super targeted support for specific parts of our biology. It is definitely some food for thought. Thanks for joining me.